I never thought I'd be one of those guys posting their marriage problems on Reddit, but here I am. Throwaway for obvious reasons. I guess I need to put this somewhere, and maybe some of you have been through something similar. My wife Claire and I have been married for 11 years. We met during our MBA program, both ambitious, both driven. She was the smartest person in our cohort, and I knew immediately she was going to be something special in the business world. I was right. She's now the CFO at one of the largest tech firms in our city. I run my own management consulting firm. We have the house in the right neighborhood, memberships at the right clubs, vacations in the right places. No kids. We both agreed our careers came first. For nearly a decade, everything was perfect. We understood each other. We had the same goals, the same values, the same friends. Our life together was exactly what we planned. Then, about 8 months ago, something changed. It started small. Claire began coming home later than usual, sometimes not until 9 or 10 p.m. She said it was work, new projects, tight deadlines. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? Her career has always been demanding. But there were other signs. She started dressing differently when she left for these late nights, more casual clothes hidden in her work bag that I occasionally glimpse. Her expense reports and credit card statements didn't show the usual client dinners or late-night Uber rides from the office. And sometimes, just sometimes, I'd catch her with this look on her face, this quiet satisfaction I hadn't seen in years. I am not proud of what I did next, but suspicion is a powerful thing. I checked her location one night when she texted she was still at the office. She wasn't. She was downtown, in a neighborhood I would generously call transitional. Not dangerous exactly, but definitely not where a C-suite executive should be after dark. I told myself I wouldn't confront her until I had proof. Proof of what exactly? I wasn't sure. An affair seemed the obvious answer, though something felt off about that theory. Claire and I may have our issues, but infidelity never seemed like her style. Last week, I decided to follow her. I told my assistant to clear my evening schedule and waited in my car outside her building. She left at 6:30, but instead of heading to another office building or hotel like I half expected, she drove to a nondescript brick building with a small sign, Harbor Light Community Center. I watched her enter with a large tote bag. 2 hours later, curiosity got the better of me. I went inside. What I found was a homeless shelter. I stood in the entrance, completely disoriented, watching as my power suit wearing Forbes featured wife served food to a line of people who clearly lived on the streets. She was laughing with them, knowing many by name. And there was a man, tall, with messy dark hair, who worked alongside her, their easy rapport impossible to miss. I left before she could see me, my mind reeling. Why would Claire hide volunteer work from me? We donate to the right charities, write the appropriate checks for fundraisers. But this hands-on involvement with the homeless? It's not. It's just not what people like us do. When she came home that night, I said nothing. But as she kissed me hello, I noticed something different in her eyes. A light that wasn't there when she looked at me anymore. I don't know who this man is. I don't know why my wife is living this double life. But I am starting to realize there's a part of Claire I never knew existed, or worse, a part that's changed while I remained the same. It's been a week since I discovered Claire's secret life at the homeless shelter. I've been watching her more closely now, noticing patterns I missed before. Tuesdays and Thursdays she comes home late, always with that same glow about her. Sometimes there's a faint scent of industrial cleaner on her hands despite her expensive perfume. Occasionally I spot food stains on her sleeve she's tried to hide. I decided to do some digging on this Harbor Light place. It's been around for 15 years, started by some church but now operating as a non-denominational shelter and resource center. They provide meals, showers, temporary housing, and employment assistance. Nothing revolutionary, just one of those bleeding heart operations running on grants and donations. And then I found him. The dark-haired man I'd seen with Claire. His name is Daniel Reyes, the program director. Former social worker who's been with Harbor Light for 7 years. Has a master's in social work from the State University. Nothing particularly impressive about his credentials. Yet my Yale-educated wife seems captivated by him. I should probably explain something about Claire and me. We've always been aligned on what matters: success, financial security, social position. We've worked hard to be where we are. When we first met, Claire had this idealistic streak. She talked about giving back and social responsibility, but that faded as we built our careers. Or so I thought. Yesterday, I confronted her. Not about the man, but about the shelter. Why didn't you tell me you've been volunteering downtown? I asked over dinner. The look on her face, shock, then something like shame, followed quickly by defiance. How did you find out? She asked, not denying it. That doesn't matter. What matters is you've been lying to me for months. Claire set down her fork. I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you. Same thing. Why the secrecy? She looked me straight in the eyes. Because I knew what you'd say, James. I knew you'd call it a waste of time or naive do-gooderism. I felt anger flare inside me. So instead of having that conversation, you just went behind my back? I started volunteering after the Anderson merger, she said, referring to a controversial acquisition her company had made that eliminated hundreds of jobs. I needed to do something that felt clean. Just once a week at first. Then twice. It matters to me. And this Daniel person? Does he matter too? Her expression shifted almost imperceptibly. He's the program director. We work together. And that's all? That's all you need to know right now, she said evenly. We finished dinner in silence. Later, I heard her on the phone in her study, speaking quietly. I couldn't make out the words, but her tone was different, softer, more animated than how she speaks at home or at work. This morning, I found a brochure for Harbor Light's annual fundraiser on the kitchen counter. An invitation, clearly, though she hasn't directly asked me to attend. It's this weekend at some downtown gallery. Far from our usual charity galas at the Ritz or Four Seasons. I don't know what game Claire is playing. Is this some midlife crisis? A rebellion against everything we built? Or has she genuinely changed while I wasn't paying attention? I decided to go to this fundraiser. I want to see her in this world she's created without me. I want to meet this Daniel person on my terms. But I am starting to worry about what I might find. Not just about Claire and Daniel, but about Claire herself. What if the woman I married, ambitious, practical, clear-eyed, is disappearing? What if I don't recognize who she's becoming? I built my life around a partnership with someone who shared my vision. Now I am wondering if that vision still exists for both of us. The Harbor Light fundraiser was nothing like the black tie events Claire and I usually attend. It was held in a converted warehouse gallery, with string lights hanging from exposed beams and mismatched furniture arranged in conversation clusters. The dress code seemed to be whatever you feel like wearing. Claire wore a simple black dress I'd never seen before, far more modest than her usual cocktail attire. I told her I wanted to support her volunteer work, and she seemed genuinely pleased, if a little apprehensive. Now I understand why. This wasn't Claire's side project. This was Claire's other life. Everyone knew her there, not as Claire Westfield, CFO of Meridian Tech, but as Claire who comes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. People approached her constantly, volunteers, donors, and even several formerly homeless individuals who credited her with helping them find jobs or housing. "Your wife is incredible," one woman told me, clutching my arm. "She helped my brother get into a treatment program when no one else would even look at him. Now he's 6 months sober and working full-time." I smiled and nodded. feeling increasingly like I stepped into an alternate reality. The Claire I know charts profit projections and negotiates acquisitions. She doesn't hold hands with addicts or teach resume workshops. Then Daniel appeared. He's younger than I expected, maybe mid-30s to our early 40s. Nothing remarkable about his appearance. He was wearing a slightly wrinkled button-down and khakis that had seen better days. But when he spoke to the crowd about Harbor Light's mission, there was an undeniable charisma about him. Not the polished charisma of a corporate executive, but something raw and genuine that commanded attention. "We don't just offer beds and meals," he said. "We offer dignity. We see people when the rest of the world has trained itself to look away." I watched Claire during his speech. She was rapt, her eyes never leaving him. There was pride there, and something else, a connection I couldn't deny. After the speeches, I found myself alone at the bar while Claire worked the room. Daniel approached me. "You must be James," he said, extending his hand. "Claire speaks highly of you." "Funny," I replied, shaking his hand. "She's barely mentioned you." If my rudeness bothered him, he didn't show it. "Claire values her privacy. I respect that. Is that what you call it? Privacy? Because from where I am standing, it looks like secrecy." He considered me for a moment. "Your wife has changed lives at Harbor Light. Whatever brought her to us, I am grateful for it." "And just what did bring her to you?" I asked, the whiskey making me bold. "That's her story to tell," he said. "But I think she needed to remember who she was before. Well, before all this." He gestured vaguely at me, at my expensive watch and tailored suit, at everything we represented. Before I could respond, Claire appeared beside us, tension visible in her shoulders. "I see you two have met," she said with forced brightness. "Daniel was just explaining how you've been living a double life," I said. Claire's face hardened. "James, let's not do this here." "No, I am fascinated," I continued. "Apparently there's a before Claire I never met. Or perhaps one I've been keeping locked away with my materialism and ambition." Daniel excused himself gracefully, but not before touching Claire's arm in a gesture of support that spoke volumes. I watched her lean slightly into that touch. The drive home was silent. When we arrived, Claire went straight to the guest bedroom. Around 3 a.m., I heard her on the phone again, her voice a urgent whisper. The next morning, she was calm, almost resigned. "I need to explain some things," she said over coffee. "But first, I need you to understand that I never meant to hurt you." Those words, the preamble to every devastating conversation in history. I was someone different before we met, James. Someone who wanted to make a difference, not just make money. Somewhere along the way, I lost that person. Harbor Light helped me find her again. "And Daniel?" I asked, dreading the answer. She looked down. "Daniel reminds me of who I wanted to be. Who I still want to be." "Are you sleeping with him?" The question came out harsher than I intended. Claire looked genuinely shocked. "No, it's not. It's not physical. But there is something," I pressed. After a long pause, she nodded. "An understanding. A connection. He sees parts of me that you never have. Somehow, that hurt more than if she admitted to a purely physical affair." "I love what we built together," she continued. "But I can't keep pretending that it's enough anymore." The Claire sitting across from me was a stranger wearing my wife's face. And the worst part? I think this stranger might be the real Claire. The one who existed before I helped shape her into someone else. It's been 2 weeks since the fundraiser. Claire and I have been existing in a strange limbo, civil but distant, sharing a house but not a life. We've had more honest conversations in these 2 weeks than in the past 5 years combined, though each one leaves me feeling like we're speaking different languages. Last weekend, I decided to see Harbor Light for myself, not just the sanitized fundraiser version, but the real operation. I told Claire I wanted to understand this part of her life. She seemed surprised but agreed to take me along for her regular Thursday shift. The shelter was both better and worse than I imagined. Better in its organization and cleanliness, worse in the stark reality it represented. Men and women of all ages waiting for meals, for showers, for someone to help them fill out forms. The overwhelming sense of lives interrupted or derailed. Claire moved through it all with a natural ease I'd only seen her display in boardrooms. She introduced me to regulars. A former accountant who lost everything to medical debt, a young woman escaping domestic violence, an elderly man who'd been on the streets for decades. She knew their stories, their needs, their progress. "Your wife is an angel," one man told me, his weathered face serious. First person who looked me in the eye in 3 years. I watched as Claire helped a teenage boy with college application forms. He's brilliant, she told me later. Just had the misfortune of being born to parents who couldn't stay clean. He's been couch surfing while finishing high school. Then Daniel arrived. The way Claire's face lit up was unmistakable. I'd seen that expression before, years ago, when she used to look at me that way. Daniel acknowledged me with a nod but didn't seem surprised to see me there. He and Claire immediately fell into a familiar rhythm, working side by side in the kitchen. Their conversation flowed effortlessly from shelter business to philosophy to politics to personal stories. They disagreed sometimes, vigorously, but with a mutual respect that was palpable. He was a corporate lawyer before social work, Claire explained when Daniel stepped away. Left a partnership track at Brennan and White to get his MSW. "That explains the connection," I said, more bitterly than intended. "You both abandoned the path you were on." Claire looked at me sharply. "He didn't abandon anything. He found his purpose. There's a difference." Later, I overheard them talking in the supply room. I am not proud of eavesdropping, but I couldn't help myself. "He's trying," Daniel said. "That counts for something, does it?" Claire sounded tired. "He's here to inspect, not to understand. All he sees is wasted potential and misplaced effort." "Have you told him about the expansion plans?" A pause. "Not yet. It's not the right time." "Claire, you can keep." "I know. Just let me handle it my way." That night, I confronted her about these expansion plans. After some hesitation, she revealed Harbor Light was purchasing the building next door to create a women's shelter and education center. They needed a financial director for the project. They asked me to take the position, she said finally. It would mean leaving Meridian. I stared at her, unable to comprehend what she was saying. "You give up your career? Your 7-figure salary? For this?" "It is a career, James. A different one. One that matters to me now." "And Daniel? Would he be your boss in this new career?" Claire shook her head. "We be colleagues. But yes, we work closely together." The truth hit me like a physical blow. "You in love with him." She didn't deny it. "I don't know what I feel. But I know his values align with the person I want to be." "And mine don't." "Not anymore," she said softly. Maybe they never did. Yesterday, I returned home early to find Claire packing a suitcase. Not leaving me, not yet, but going to a Harbor Light board retreat for the weekend. A retreat Daniel would surely attend. "I need space to think," she said, not meeting my eyes. "About the job offer. About us." As she zipped her suitcase, I noticed something on her nightstand. Divorce attorney business cards. 3 of them. She's been doing research. I should be angry. I should feel betrayed. Instead, I feel a strange emptiness, like I am watching the end of someone else's marriage. Last night, alone in our too large house, I did something I haven't done in years. I looked through old photos. Claire in college, before we met. She was involved in every advocacy group on campus. There's a photo of her at a protest, fist raised, eyes ablaze with purpose. When did that fire go out? Or did I simply convince her to redirect it toward objectives I found more valuable? The woman I married and the woman packing that suitcase are the same person. I am just not sure which version is the real Claire, the ambitious executive or the passionate advocate. Or maybe they both real, and they only been willing to love one of them. Claire returned from the retreat 2 days ago. She walked into our house, still immaculate thanks to our twice-weekly cleaning service, set her bags down, and asked if we could talk. I knew before she spoke a single word. I am filing for divorce, she said, her voice steady but not cold. They already moved most of my essentials to a sublet downtown. No preamble, no tears, just the decisive clarity that made her so successful in business. Is it because of him? I asked, though the answer hardly mattered anymore. No, she said, then reconsidered. Not entirely. Daniel was the catalyst, not the cause. We sat in the living room, a space designed by an interior decorator to project exactly the image we wanted, and dismantled 11 years of marriage in under 2 hours. Claire had thought of everything: asset division, timeline, public narrative for colleagues and friends. I don't want the house, she said, or the vacation property. I don't want the club memberships or the investment portfolio. What do you want? I asked, incredulous. These were the things we worked our entire marriage to acquire. A clean break, enough to make a modest investment in Harbor Light's expansion. And she hesitated, your understanding, if possible. That's when I finally lost my composure. My understanding? They've been living a double life for months, falling in love with another man, planning to throw away everything they built, and you want my understanding? I want you to see that I am not throwing anything away, she countered, her voice rising slightly. I am choosing something different, something that brings me joy and purpose. And I didn't, Her expression softened. We did, once, but somewhere along the way, we started confusing success with fulfillment. At least I did. She was right, and that was the worst part. We had achieved every goal we set. We had the careers, the house, the lifestyle. We won the game we agreed to play. And somehow, in winning, Claire had realized she no longer valued the prize. Are you sleeping with him now? I couldn't help but ask. Claire looked me directly in the eyes. No, but I won't lie to you. There is something between us that goes beyond friendship. I didn't plan it, and I fought it for months. But I can't keep denying it. Do you love him? I am drawn to his conviction, to his certainty about what matters. And yes, to him as a person. She paused. I won't act on it until our divorce is finalized. That's a promise. Small comfort, but I appreciated the honesty. The divorce papers arrived yesterday. Claire has been more than fair financially, generous, even. She's asking for less than she's entitled to. Our lawyers are surprised by the lack of conflict. On paper, this is the most amicable of separations. The reality is messier. Last night, I drove by Harbor Light. I told myself I was just passing through the area, but that was a lie. I parked across the street and watched as Claire and Daniel left together. They weren't touching, weren't doing anything inappropriate. Just walking side by side, talking intently, their breath visible in the cold evening air. But there was an intimacy between them that was unmistakable, the kind that doesn't require physical contact. As I watched them, a strange thought occurred to me. I don't think Claire cheated on me, not really. I think she finally stopped cheating herself. This morning, I signed the papers. Our marriage will be legally over in a matter of weeks. 11 years, dissolved with a few signatures. Claire came by to collect the last of her things while I was at work. We agreed it would be easier that way. She left her keys on the counter and a letter in an envelope with my name on it. I haven't opened it yet. I am not sure I want to know what it says. What haunts me isn't that she found someone else. It's that she found herself, and that person no longer fits with me. The Claire I married might have been a version of herself she created to match my expectations. Or perhaps we both created versions of ourselves that we thought we should be. I keep coming back to something Daniel said at the fundraiser. We see people when the rest of the world has trained itself to look away. I never truly saw Claire. I saw the woman I wanted her to be, ambitious, practical, focused on the same markers of success that drove me. I never looked for anything else. Yesterday, my assistant mentioned that Harbor Light's expansion project was featured in the Business Journal. There was a photo. Claire and Daniel standing in front of the new building site, both smiling with a kind of purpose I haven't felt in years. The caption listed Claire as the incoming financial director. I've been offered a position in our London office. I think I am going to take it. New city, new start. Perhaps there's a version of James Westfield waiting to be discovered there, too. Thank you all for watching this video. This is my first experience on YouTube, and I tried my best to make it interesting and of high quality for you. If you liked it, please like and subscribe to my channel. It will help me a lot to develop further. Don't forget to click on the bell to get notified of new videos. I would also appreciate your comments and advice. What did you like and what could be improved? Your opinion is very important to me. I am already working on new videos that I hope will be even better. So don't miss out. Thanks again for your support. See you in the next video.